Happy Father's Day, everybody. So it's Father's Day 2024. Just got home from church. They had a little potluck. Lots of families. Super great energy. And now I'm at home, well, enjoying my hammock. And I felt inspired to, speak a little bit. And if this video is a little windy, I apologize. I'm out here in the wind. I'm kind of sheltered, but, well, see what you can do. So Father's Day, there's lots of talk about how we should honor fathers, and fathers are the best, and all that kind of stuff. And all of that is very true. But this video, I'm a father. And I'm going to speak to all the fathers out there right now. See, the reason the world is in the predicament right now is that many fathers forgot who they were, or what their job was, what their responsibility was. And when I look around at, some elements of society where you've got young men who don't leave their parents' basement to get a job and be productive, or at least be productive. They don't necessarily have to get a job, but be productive. You've got young girls who keep jumping from man to man because, just like the boys earlier, sharing the two dichotomies here, it's because of poor fathering and mothering to a degree, but I'm a father, so I'm going to talk about fathers. The young men, who don't get up and do anything, well, that's what's called enabling. And don't take my word for it. You can hop online and type in the word enabling, and it's abuse. If you allow you don't have to control people, but at the same time, you don't have to allow behavior that's self-destructive. Having a 30-year-old son living in your basement who doesn't do anything, that's destructive. Heck, even having a late teens, early 20s son who has no responsibility, and you just don't actually say, hey, this is the deal, you got to get out there, because it's just a matter of being healthy. It's the equivalent of injecting lard into their veins. It's a choice, but a really shitty one. In regard to, and the same holds true with the productivity of young girls. But the biggest problem right now in regard to young girls is we've got a whole generation of young girls who haven't been properly loved by their fathers. And as a result, they're hopping from man to man to man. Their relationships are in crisis, and by default, families are in crisis. Because you just had a bunch of guys who just forgot that they had to respond. If you have the ability to make children, you have to have the ability to look after children. Or at least, if you didn't think you had the ability, you have to get on board with it, because your future generation depends upon it. I'm reminded of a John Mayer song called Father, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do. Girls become lovers who turn into mothers. So fathers, be good to your daughters too. And I don't know how old anyone watching this video, if you've got a teenage daughter and you haven't, in the olden days when young men were afraid of father because of the ramifications of doing something dishonorable with her, was that they would pay a physical price. If you're not that father, well, society worked better when those fathers were around. If you've got a little girl, and you're basically leaving all the mothering to the mother, and you're not, treating your daughter in a way that you're not treating her like a princess, you're treating her like a woman who has self-respect. And the idea is that if you put those feelings in her, when someone honorable, decent, kind, generous comes in her life, she'll recognize that person as someone that she can trust and have a life with, as opposed to someone she's terrified of and will run away from, and then end up with all these single mother households where you have women, they'll stay long enough to have the baby and then they run away from the man. And then it is a hard battle for those women, if they ever do. It is a hard battle for them to ever come back through logic and reason and through being self-aware to recognizing what was the right choice for their life. And it all starts with fatherhood. So once again, whether you have young men in your life who are not hitting the mark, because maybe, you know what, maybe you don't hit the mark, but I got good news for you. Tomorrow's a new day and you can start hitting the mark, and your children will follow your example. So if you're a loser, your kids will be losers. But there's so many stories of people who were not hitting the mark, either financially or mentally or emotionally or anything like that, who turned it around. Now sometimes I talk with shaming language because, in my mind, it's a simple choice. And you may think that it's too hard to do that, or you've got some disadvantage. But at least start by talking about how you want to make a change and how you can be there for your kids. Now, for those fathers, I was at my church today, for those fathers that are hitting that mark, I really enjoy my church because it's full of, a healthy church is always one that's full of families that are functional with lots of kids. And that is very much so the case. But here on YouTube, I'm reaching out to the world, and the lion's share of people in the world, well, there's as many broken homes as there is stable homes. And the difference between broken and stable is mindset. So, if you're a father, just think about this. There's not a lot of people who are going to say, if you sit, like Jordan Peterson says, if you sit on the end of your bed and you ask yourself, am I hitting the mark? You're going to know if you're hitting the mark. You're going to know if you're introducing a stable environment into your family. And you're also going to know what you'd have to do to have a stable environment. Either only inviting people into your life that are stable, decent, kind, responsible, or continuing to associate with those who are not, which means that's who you are too. So, directed solely at fathers, the choice is simple. You can either stay in the mud and talk about how much you hate being in the mud, but proving that you like being in the mud because you stay there. Or today is the day. You can say, you know what? I have not been hitting the mark in a lot of areas. And although I'm not going to be able to turn it around 100% today, even if you turn it around 0.1%, and then the next day it's 0.2, then the next day it's 0.5, then the next day it's 1. Just one step at a time. It's easy to do. And if you do that, not only will you feel better in this moment, but years from now, the biggest regret people have at the end of their life is that they didn't spend enough time doing the quality things to build up the next generation. Like a lot of old folks say, I wish I'd spent more time with my family. And part of spending time with your family is creating the foundation where that can, not only can you have the ability to spend that time, but they want to spend that time. And you want to have that communion. And that comes with good fathering. And for those of you who are watching this who did not have a good father, you have to father yourself. You have to say, I may not have had a good father. Heck, I may not have had a good mother. But I have the ability to look inside myself and say, okay, maybe I can do something better. Maybe I can invite the people into my life that are, by their actions, extremely high quality, only have my best interest in mind, and want to help me create the best life for myself, my kids, and so that you can return the best life to them as well. That's a little harder thing to do than just saying, hey, why don't you become a good father? But it is possible, as is proven by countless examples. You know, inspiration is very effective. It's like face washing, very effective, but you have to do it every day. So I don't expect that you're going to watch my video and go, oh, okay, Rob said to do all this, I better do it. But, you know, go on YouTube, type in how to be a better father, how to be a better person, how to get a hold of my emotions, how to, well, essentially it's mastery. Self-mastery is not only how you create a better world for yourself in all of your, and how you experience life, but it's how you also create a better world for those around you, especially children, because they will see your example and want to emulate it. You know, the divorce rate has been up since the mid-70s, and if you wonder why divorces are, well, almost commonplace now, it's because parents or children saw their parents do it and were like, oh yeah, that must be the way to go. Of course there's other factors, but at the end of the day, it is because parents forgot the responsibility is to their children and the next generation, and they themselves have to take a back seat. It's a big topic and we could talk about this all day long. But the reality is that fathers are important, and the job that they do is crucial, vital. And it doesn't matter what mistakes you made up till now, you could change them in the next hour and reset the course for the rest of your life. Becoming your own father. If you didn't have a good one, whether you're a man or a woman, become your own father. Look at the excellent resources that are out there. It won't be easy, but it won't be hard either. It's like going to the gym. The first few times you go to the gym, you don't like it very much. But after a while, you look in the mirror and you go, oh yeah, that's why I'm going to the gym. And think about healthy thinking as you looking at your mirror and noticing how you're becoming trimmer and more attractive, and you're feeling better and you got more mobility. It's the same with mental health. And you'll have a rebirth, not only in the kind of people that you bring into your life. You'll only want to have healthy, good thinking people in your life. And even if your children are grown, they will see the example that you're creating. And it will cause them to go on a self-discovery for themselves and create new and wonderful things. It's not easy, but then again, it's not hard. So I always say to my sons, if it was easy, everyone would do it. But then again, if you're watching this video and you're able to hold down a job, pay your bills, have a decent life, the things I'm talking to you about, I don't know, they're kind of like redecorating your house. God knows you've done that enough times. This is just redecorating your mentality. Anyway, I've talked enough. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there for all the things that I meant. I'm encouraging you to do all the things I mentioned, or at least consider them. And also happy Father's Day to the mothers out there who maybe you have to be a father through circumstance and are doing the best you can. Just do a little more. You'll be glad you did.